How many of us are like Saul, who did not do what God told him to do? Saul took it upon himself to do what Saul thought was right to do in Saul's eyes. And he thought that the Most High would be more pleased with what Saul saw fit to do than what the Most High told him to do, which was a mistake on Saul's part, a big mistake. He was not thinking. He may have meant well, but when God tells us to do something, he means for us to do it and not think that we know better than him or that he'll be pleased with whatever decision we choose to, however we decide to do things outside of what he told us or how he told us to do it. Now, how many of us are like Saul? I'm going to give you an example of what I'm talking about. This was an abomination what Saul did. Okay, first of all, he took it upon himself to do what Saul wanted to do. Okay? That's the first thing he did wrong. Okay? And I know that made God mad. In fact, it made God so mad that God stopped talking to him. I mean, he talked to him. He asked him why he didn't do what he wanted him to do. But then God stopped talking to him. Okay, now this is the second thing Saul did, which was worse than the first. Saul then goes and gets a woman who is a seance person who supposedly brings up spirits of the departed. Okay, and he goes to this woman, and okay, but let me back up here for a second. Now, God does not condone spiritism in any way, shape, or form. Not in any way, shape, or form. So what Saul did next, after he disobeyed the Most High, he goes to this woman and has this woman bring up what he thinks is dead Samuel. Sorry. Now, this is the second thing, because God does not condone spiritism, like I said, in any way, shape, or form. So now Saul is getting deeper and deeper, okay? And no doubt God is getting more angry and more angry at Saul, because Saul just going from bad to worse. So now he brings up, this woman brings up what Saul thinks is dead Samuel's spirit. And this spirit, who is being played by Satan, acting like he's dead Samuel, the spirit of dead Samuel, this spirit tells, which is really Satan, tells Saul that he's doomed, that he's going to die when this thing happens, that he so fears, that he wanted information from God on, but God wouldn't speak to him because he didn't listen to him. So Satan is telling this guy all this stuff. And the guy thinks that he's getting information from the Most High through Samuel. But the Most High had refused to talk to Saul. So why would he do it through a seance holder? You know, and God doesn't even condone spiritism. So that's the third thing. Okay. You went from disobeying, Saul went from disobeying what God told him to do, taking it upon himself to do what he wanted to do, that he thought would better please the Most High. Then he goes and consults a seance holder, which God does not condone spiritism. And then when this woman, when Saul thinks that she's brought up dead Samuel, his spirit, Saul as Samuel, in total ignorance of how God feels about these spiritists and stuff. And he's sitting there thinking that Samuel is telling him something that God told Samuel to tell him, and God does not condone spiritism. So all this stuff, it's like, you're going from bad to worse. How many of us are like that? How many of us don't listen? We take things upon ourselves to do things our own way, and instead of us doing it God's way the first time and staying in line with His will, oh no, we got to step outside of His will. God said, don't go to the right or the left, but we step outside of His will. However, and we end up messing up. Just like we start walking with God, and then we start walking with the world again. It's like a dog returning to his vomiting and returning to it. So, but we need to stop and think about the mistakes that Saul made. See, you can make one mistake and it could have a ripple effect in your own life. So now you're trying to, it's just like a person who's a habitual liar. They have to keep telling one lie, another lie to try to cover up the lie they just told before, or the lie they told before, whatever. So that's what we do, though. And instead of us apologizing wholeheartedly and really being remorseful about what we did when we stepped out of line, because God looks at the heart, the pride thing is the wrong thing to have. It's because we're mad because God didn't accept us or whatever. Well, hey, you should have been thinking before you did that. Let me do it this way. Let me do it God's way instead of my way. I don't want to do it my way because my way is not what God said how to do it. He had plenty of time to turn around and not bring those things that God told him to get rid of or to kill. But he didn't. He thought his own way was better than God's way. And that's why God stopped talking to him. So, and now I say that because I want to get to this point. There is a way that seems right to a man. And for a long time, I thought about what that way would be. And I figured it out tonight. I figured it out. It's our selfish ways. It's the selfish way of mankind. Our willfully ignorant, selfish ways. And it's not hard to figure out. Our selfish way is what got us into the mess we're in right now, following Satan. And our selfish way, like I said, has a ripple effect. It goes from one thing, we do one thing wrong, and then there's a ripple effect in our lives. All kinds of things start happening wrong, all behind one thing. It's just like I said about the habitual liar. They have to keep lying to try to cover up the last lie they told. And what is that? How's the saying go? Oh, what a tangled web we weave when once we practice to deceive. Same thing, pretty much, same thing. Because we get things all tangled up, or things get tangled up, when all we have to do is not do the stuff in the first place. Because the more we mess up, the more it's going to be like, it's like being wrapped up in a bunch of twine. Hey, it doesn't have to be that way. If you do things right the way they're supposed to be done, and things go smoothly. If you're working for someone and they tell you how to do a certain thing at their whatever job that they want you to do, and you decide to do it your way, and then that person gets angry with you and fires you, and then I did it this way. I thought it'd be better, but you found out that it's not better. No, you do what, someone's over you like that. You do what they tell you to do, not what you want to do. It doesn't work like that. You're working for them. They're not working for you. So you don't make up the rules. And, you do what you're told, or you don't really want to work there. Or you think you're going to advance by doing something that you think is better than what they told you to do. No. That goes like hand in hand with insubordination. You're out of line. So, you shouldn't be surprised if you get fired. A person shouldn't be surprised they get fired for not doing what they were told to do. So, and like I said, the ripple effect with the doing things our selfish ways. We go from bad to worse. It's just like with Saul and the Most High. What Saul did. Our selfish ways produce more things, more ways that, and these things are abominations to the Most High. It's like being selfish, we walk away from God, being selfish. That's one thing. And then a lot of us, consult these spiritists, or, we say, well, we've seen ghosts, we've seen this, had a vision of this, or whatever it is that's got to do with the spirit realm. But you know what? And if we talk about this stuff, it's an abomination, because if we believe in the spirit realm, then we believe in the Most High. If we believe in the Most High, then we should be, trying to please the Most High instead of just taking things further, in our ignorance, our willfully ignorant, selfish ways. And God's looking at us, probably with raised eyebrows. Look at these people. They're just going from one thing to the next, just totally ignoring me, But then we wonder, we had a nerve to wonder, well, when we're in trouble or something like that, or we're scared or something we're scared for somebody's life or whatever, then we're praying to God and we don't get the answer. Well, you know what? It's tit for tat. If we're ignoring Him, then what do you think that is? And that goes hand in hand with what Jesus said. Whoever denies me, him also will I deny before my Father in heaven. So if we're ignoring the Most High, His Son, what they did for us, then we're pretty much just trampling it under feet. And our prayers, when we're in trouble or whatever, that's like an abomination. It's like an abomination. Oh, you're going to pray to me when you want something, when you need something, and it's kind of like that's how people do. Some people, they don't want anything to do with you until they need something from you, and then they're all up in your face. When they're in dire straits, they're all up in your face. But if you help them, then you don't hear from them for a long time until they need something else. That's kind of like, when a person starts thinking about that, that's kind of like an abomination. Don't be coming around me with a smile and all this, that, or calling me, or wanting to talk to me, because, I know from experience that it is because you want something. You're only calling me because you want something. You're not calling to see how I'm doing, or if I'm still alive or whatever. You're calling because you want something. Now, you could act like you're being nice or whatever, or like you're being concerned, but I know that you're really not, because there's a pattern, and this is it. And that's what mankind seems to do. That's why I said, how many of us out there are like Saul, who does things, we go from bad to worse in our ignorance, in our prideful willful ignorance, thinking we're doing something, so slick or so good, but we're really messing up more and more and more and more and more. Like I said, about the spiritists and all the spirit realm and all this and that. We seem to we do one thing that has already gotten us in trouble, and then we just keep doing more and more and more and more and more, trying to get out of the trouble or just being ignorant, when all we have to do is just do the right thing in the first place. That's it. If we mess up, make up for it or try to make amends for it as best we can. Don't just keep going from bad to worse. Don't do it. The best thing to do is just do the right thing from the jump street, and we don't have to worry about a ripple effect happening, a ripple effect of other bad things happening, because it could prove to be an abomination to the Most High, because we're steadily trying to fix things ourselves, in some other way other than coming to the Most High or whatever. And when we do it our way, our selfish way, which got us in trouble in the first place, it always proves to be a mistake. Our selfish ways lead to more ways of messed up ways of doing things, more messed up ways of thinking or saying things. So we need to don't do it in the first place. That's the best way. Like they said, honesty is the best policy. Living right instead of living wrong is the best way to live. Living God's way is the way we should we should live and continue to live. Not our way. And just like the story of the prodigal son, God's waiting for us to come home. He knows we messed up, but we have to make the first step. But God's not going to come after us and we're just steadily doing our thing. He's waiting for us to come to our senses. And like I said, he looks at the heart, and he knows if we're really sincere inside, if we're really remorseful about what we did, if we realize how wrong it was what we did. God's looking at us. God doesn't want to see us perish. He knows we're human. He knows we're going to make mistakes. But he also knows, because he made us, he knows what's in our hearts. He knows what's in our minds. Okay. We should just try to do things the right way so we can avoid the ripple effect, which will only get us in more and more trouble. And so as far as the verse in the Bible that says there's a way that seems right to a man, yes, there is, but it leads to death. And that's our selfish ways, the selfish way of man. And that goes for each of us. Every man, woman, boy, and child on this earth, boy and girl on this earth. And we're selfish from toddlers to the elder, to the elders. We are, even babies are selfish because they get it from us. It's in their nature. God's just waiting for us to change and come back home. But when we do, we got to leave the selfishness behind. We can't bring that with us. We have to come to the end of self and leave self there. Because self will take us to a dead end. There is a way that seems right to a man, and its ways end, and it ends in death. And that way is our selfish way, the selfish way of each man, woman, boy, and girl on this planet. We got to come to the end of self before self ends our lives. And that's real talk. For a long time, I thought, well, periodically, I thought about this saying in the Bible. The verse that reads, "There is a way that seems right to a man, but it ends in destruction and death." There's a verse in the Bible, there are verses, corresponding verses, or verses that correspond with each other or relate to each other in the Bible. One says, "How can you see to take the speck of dust out of your brother's eye when you have a plank in your own eye?" And it goes hand in hand with judging others or talking about others, about what they do or how they act or what they say, how they live their lives. When you are living your life the same way, acting the same way, saying the same things, doing the same things, how can you say any point fingers at that person or talk about them in such a way so as to make them look at themselves, the things they do, the things they say, the way they live, when you are doing the same thing? There is a way that seems right to a man, and it ends in death, destruction. It goes hand in hand with the "judge not lest you be judged." It goes hand in hand with the taking a speck of dust out of your brother's eye when a plank is in your own. How can you see to do that? How can you see to talk about him when you're just as bad as he is? When you do the same things or worse than he does or she does. To me, that is the way that seems right to a man. I think that the reason God put that in there is because all of us are self-righteous. We tend to judge each other. And that's why we don't get along. Because we're always judging each other, talking about each other. Different races do this to other races. Have you noticed that? Blacks do it to whites, whites do it to blacks. We do it to each other. And none of us are better than the other. Time has clearly shown that. And that is what will bring our downfall. Instead of us helping each other, lifting each other up, we bring each other down by doing these very things, thinking that we're better or acting like we're better when we're in reality, in all actuality, we're not. Who of you out there can say that you're better than whoever you look at? Whoever you can think about, whoever you met in your life, or whoever you haven't met, how can you say that you're better than they are? Whether you know them or don't know them. How can you say that you're better? How do you know that you're better? Who told you that you were better? It surely was not God. No, it was self. And it was self who listens to Satan, who thinks that, who thought that he was better than his maker. And God put him in his place, brought him low. And that's what's going to happen to us. Because we don't listen. We don't look at what really is. We think we're better. And because we think we're better, it's going to bring our downfall. And God said, this is why I believe that, even though we have to go through so much during the 7-year tribulation, I believe that's coming too. And it's going to be hell on earth. A living hell on earth. Worse than any time on the earth before or will be like that again. It's going to be that bad. That it'll be so bad that it'll never be like that again, because eventually we're going to wake up. God's going to put some sense in our heads. Something's going to happen to put some sense in our heads. Things are happening now that people are thinking about. But when it gets to reaches that point, there's going to be an awakening. I believe that if God didn't step in by way of his Spirit with some enlightenment to show man how screwed up he is, and to show man that he needs to come to the end of his selfish ways, because it's our selfish ways that started this in the first place, because we wanted to have the knowledge of good and evil, when all the knowledge we really needed was to know God, to follow God, to know that we are following our Creator. That's all the knowledge, that's all the know that we needed to know. That's all we needed to know. What better person could we know from anyway? What better person could we follow? But we chose to be selfish. We had to find out things, do things our own way. And that goes with another verse in the Bible that says, it is not for man to even direct his own steps. Because if we walk without God, we're walking in darkness. And we're sure to stumble. And we did. Ever since we listened to Satan, ever since mankind listened to Satan, we have been walking in darkness. And God has been sending messages here and there, messages of light and hope, saying, come back home. Come on. Sends you someone with a candle saying, come on, come back. Like the prodigal son. Come back home. Voices of reasoning. Voices of reasoning. Come back home. Hold the candle up high so you can see it in the darkness. Come on, it's this way. Home is this way. Come back home. Can't you see that you need to be back home, that you need to be coming back home? Will you have peace of mind? Your Father's waiting for you. Come back home. Son, where are you? He's calling out to you. Daughter, where are you? He's calling out to you. Come home. That's all you have to do is come home. I will forgive you. Just put it in your heart to come home. To change your ways. To realize you made a mistake. I'll forgive you. Just come home. I just want to see your heart. I want you to be okay. I don't want you to perish. I'm sending out these warnings, this advice, the shining this light like a lighthouse. I'm sending my voices of reasoning through different people telling you to come home. Come out of the world, this world of darkness, to the light where you can live and live more abundantly. Come home. There is a way that seems right to a man, and it's going to end in our destruction. It would end in our destruction, I'll say that. But many people have lost their lives from living that very way. And mankind would be extinct if God did not step in to save us. If he did not extend his hand when we are drowning, because all of us are going to be in big trouble when that happens. If he did not extend his hand, the Savior, to save us, no flesh would survive. God is extending his hand now. He's telling me, come to the end of myself. He's telling you, through me, come to the end of yourself. Come home. If you are true to yourself, and yourself is telling you in your spirit, come home, and you hear yourself, you know it's the truth, and you have this gnawing at your spirit, it's the gnawing of you knowing that it's the truth. Truth recognizes truth. Righteousness recognizes righteousness. If you feel it in your spirit, if you hear it, if you see it, that you need to come home, if you are hearing, if you are actually listening to what I'm saying, and you not only hear it, but you feel it. You see it and you feel it, you hear it and you feel it. Something pulling you inside. Something beckoning you inside to come home. Get away from the world. Come home. Come back home. Or come home. Some of you have never even been home. But something is calling you to come home. Come to the place where you can call home. Truly call home. This world, this life is not our home. We may have homes made of wood and stone, metal and steel. But they're not really our home. These are just temporary places. You have to broaden your scope on life to see true life. No, these are not real homes because there's no peace. Everyone has a void in their soul. No one is really happy. That's why people do the things they do. That's why there are so many drug addicts, alcoholics. People are gambling, trying to get more money, trying to fill that void, thinking that money is going to fill that void. Well, you think about the millionaires and billionaires who some committed suicide because they were not happy. They could not fill the void. The only thing that's going to fill the void is knowing the truth. And the only way you can know the truth is if you come home to the truth. the truth of how this world got to be, how life got to be the way it is. When we look at the truth and do something to expose the lies, share in the truth, help share the truth to expose the lie, that will expose the lies. The truth is the light. The lies are the darkness, or the lies are what have us in the darkness. And people are comfortable in the darkness. That's why people get mad at people who are telling the truth, because it exposes the darkness. And people, the people who are comfortable in the dark, they want to keep doing their dirt in the dark that they do in the dark. They want to keep doing their dirt that they're doing in the dark. They're comfortable in the dark. They don't want to see the light. They don't want to see anyone bring the light because it's exposing them. And Satan surely doesn't want to see it. He's doing everything in his power to keep man in the dark. He's got the whole world deceived, meaning in the dark. He's got the whole world blinded by his tricks. And he's got the whole world thinking that it's normal. Some people don't even believe in God, that God exists, or that he exists. And I'm sure he really loves that one. Then you have the false prophet preachers. Wow. With their half-truths. This come home. There is the roadmap. There are roadmaps, different ones, leading you back home. Some you may not be able to figure out. Some you may have to look at 2 or 3 times. Well, I should be going this way. The detours, no. Those are, symbolically speaking, false prophet ways. No. Don't take the detours. Don't take the detours. You have to, and don't turn around. You have to keep going straight. Don't go to the left or to the right. Don't turn around. Don't take any detours. Don't make a U-turn. Don't do a 360 and go back to the world if you leave the world. Keep going. Keep going. All the signs are pointing to you going home. The signs of the time of the end are telling you. It's like a roadmap. It's like a map telling you. Look at the signs. Look at the signs. Keep going home. The signs are telling you, come home. This is the way home right here. This is the way home. Not that way that seems right to a man. That's not the way home. That's the way to destruction. That's going completely, totally backwards. You're being totally backwards. You're telling other people to go this way, but you're going in the opposite direction. I mean, you want to go that way too, but it's like you're a traffic cop. Say, okay, did you go this way? You come on this way. Come on, go. You go this way. Let this one go that way. You go this way. No, what you need to be doing is going. If you're going to be a leader, then lead. Don't tell someone to go this way or that way. Lead them there. Show them the way there. Take them there. And you take them there by teaching them the truth, by telling them the truth, not by telling them half-truths. There's a saying, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach a man how to fish, you feed him for life. Now, I'm going to see why I said that. And I'm thinking that I said it because it's a good saying, and it's true. I'm thinking why I said it is because if I tell you the way to go home, but I'm not teaching you how to follow the map to go home, and in this case, it's by listening to the different talk videos or to the people talk who have voices of reasoning. And you know it's making sense because it's touching something in your spirit. If you keep listening to these people, not just listen to one time, okay, because you're really not learning nothing like that. If they're trying to teach you something, they're telling you something, they're trying to teach you, tell you what's good. But sometimes you have to listen more than once. You have to hear you can hear what they're saying, but you got to listen too. And in order for you to listen, sometimes for you to listen, you have to hear it over and over, more than once. I can tell you how to bait that hook. I can tell you how to put that worm on there and where to throw it at or whatever, what area, But if you're not really hearing me, you're not really listening, then you'll be like, the next time when you try it, you'll be like, well, I think he said I had to do it this way, and then put the stopper on here and tie this here to that, and just listen. I can give you the fish, and you don't have to listen to what I said about how to bait this thing yourself and fish for yourself. Okay, that's just an illustration. It's kind of like a metaphor. What I'm basically saying is, you have to listen and learn. Okay, you have to listen and learn. And the only way you're going to learn is by paying attention. When people are telling you what's good for you, and you feel it in your heart, you know it. Something's tugging on you, pulling on you inside. This is the way to do it. Something's telling you, do it this way. Don't do that. Something's telling you, voice of reasoning, don't do that. Don't run with that crowd. Get away from that woman. Get away from those drugs. Get away from that alcohol. Stop gambling. Stop prostituting. Stop stealing. Stop hanging out with that crowd. You're going to get in trouble. Stop thinking that you got it all down. You know what you're doing. How many people who are in jail right now or in the graveyards thought they knew what they were doing? How many people got caught doing this, doing that, and are now doing time in jail, in prison? Some are never getting out. Just like the ones who aren't getting out of the grave unless God sees fit to let them out, to resurrect them. Listen to the voices of reasoning that are trying to teach you something. Listen to the voices of reasoning. Look and learn. Watch and learn. Pay attention and learn. Look at the mistakes that other people have made and learn from them. Don't think that you're smarter than everybody else on the face of this earth, because you're not. Don't think that you're better, because you're not. Don't try to tell someone to live a certain way and you're living a way that's opposite, or you're doing the same things that they're doing and you're trying to tell them how to live. It doesn't work that way. You're only condemning yourself, because you're going to keep going down a path and you're telling someone else not to go down. You're going to find yourself in big trouble. It's kind of like, it's just like what Jimmy Swaggart was doing, preaching and all this and that, until he got caught with a prostitute in a motel. She told on him, the things you do will tell on you. The things you do in the dark will come to the light. Sooner or later, And you will be exposed. Your way of life will be exposed. So the best thing you can do is get it together. Or it will, the things you do, especially if you're judging someone else, the things that you are doing just like them and speaking out in judgment against them or acting out in judgment against them is what is going to bring you down. Because with what measure you judged or condemned, it's going to come right back to you. You'll be judged and condemned by those same standards, by the same measures. And it will be something that you don't want to see, but you brought it on yourself. And you will be exposed. If you keep doing it, don't change your ways, and try to make amends, you will be exposed. There's a way that seems right to a man. I hope you are following this post, about learning, about sharing, about teaching others how to live. And, but you have to set an example. You can't lead by just words. Actions speak louder than words. You have to show by example. Show them how to get there. Show them how to share. Show them how to teach them how to teach others. Show them how to read the roadmap, how to listen to how to learn, so they can show other people how to learn, so they can teach others. So they could stand up and proudly say, this is the way to go right here. Follow the voices of reasoning. They will take you to the paths. There are paths to life. They are paths to life. Every voice of reasoning, from where you listen to it from, is a path to life. No matter what walk of life you're in or you're on, no matter where you're stationed in life, those voices of reasoning are all headed to the same place, to your salvation. That's the destination. Salvation is the destination. That's the destination. And that's where all these voices of reasoning, they're like different roads on this map that has one destination, salvation. So wherever you're stationed at in life, follow the roads. There's a saying in the Bible, I was just talking about it the other night, last night actually. It says, follow the ways of old, the good paths. Follow the good paths, the ways of old, the ways of righteousness. Those are the ways of old, the paths that Noah followed, that Abraham followed. The good paths, the paths of righteousness, and they will take you home. They will show you the way home. They will be a light, a lamp unto your feet, so you won't stumble and fall along the way. Those ways, those roads are the ways you should go. They will take you to the destination that if you have any righteousness in you at all and you believe in God, they will lead you towards salvation. Those are the voices of reasoning. The Lord says, come, let us reason together. Though your sins are scarlet, they should be as white as snow. That means you won't have any sins. You'll be pure in heart. Listen to the voices of reasoning. This is one of those voices. And I care because I share because I care. If I didn't care, I wouldn't be doing this. And also because the Bible, God tells me in the Bible that if he tells me to warn someone that they are going to die, and I don't do it, and I know I should, then your blood or their blood will be on my hands. Just as your blood will be whoever's you should be sharing with, if they die, their blood will be on your hands. And you can't say, well, I didn't know what to tell them. I didn't know. Well, you could tell them to listen to this post. You know, you have to work out your own salvation. You know, all these things go hand in hand with each other. The roadmaps, the working out your own salvation, the talking to people, that, teach them. You could teach them. You don't have to tell them anything. You just say, look, listen to this guy's post. Just listen to it. And that's working out your salvation. At least you told someone. You don't have to tell them everything I'm telling you. This post will tell them that. And they are to do the same thing. Because once you know the truth, and you don't share it, and you could have saved somebody's life, or then their blood is on your hands. So it's like the ripple effect. Teach them the truth. Show them the road map to life. Teach them how to listen. Teach them how to fish for men, for the souls of men. If you do nothing more than tell them about this talk video, about this post, to share it, just to listen to it, they'll know to share it once they listen to it. It's like the ripple effect, like the domino effect, in effect. So, as I started out, there is a way that seems right to a man, that selfish way, that will be the death of us all. Or that would be the death of us all if God didn't step in. And I'm not talking about just when the 7-year tribulation, great tribulation is going on either. He's stepping in now. Can't you see that? He's trying to save you now. And he's asking you to try to save other people by telling them about this post. It's something very simple, very easy to do. You don't have to go talking about the post, or just say, man, listen to this post and tell me what you think about it. And just tell them, or just, if you like it, share it with someone else. Play it forward. I'm going to stop this post. I've said everything I want to say. I get these ideas, and I want to put them down because I feel like God is telling me to put them down. You help save someone else's life. You're saving your own life. You are saving your own soul. At least you have done what God wanted you to do, what God wanted done. That's for you to share the truth that will help save a life. If they don't listen, their blood is not on your hands. You did your part. You did your part. And that's all that matters. In the end, that will be all that matters. That's what God looks at, the heart. You tried. You put your heart into it. You told them. That's all you can do. You can't twist their arm. You can't beat them over the head with it. You can't drill it in their brains. You can't implant it in their hearts and in their thoughts. All you can do is tell them. Please listen to this post. I'm telling you because I care. Listen to the entire post. Please just listen to it. So I'm asking you, whoever is listening to this, whoever's listening to this post, tongue-tied, share it. If you care, share. May you live to see the dawn. May you live to see, to obtain, to know salvation, true salvation. That's my prayer for you listening. Thank you. There's stress on everybody on the face of this earth. In one way or in more than one way, we are all going through trying times, trials and tribulations and the troubles of this present day society, our present day world. So if you think or feel or think and feel that you are by yourself, that there is another human being on this planet who is stress-free, completely stress-free, you don't have to think and feel that you are the only one going through something stressful or some things stressful. The Bible states that in the last days, critical times, hard to deal with, will be here. If you can't see that we are in the last days, instinctively, then you are blinded to how this world is going. You're blinded to what really is going on. Some people act like they put on airs. They act like their lives are so good, so stress-free, and like they're happy, and no, not a worry in the world, not a care in the world. Those are just airs. Everyone in this world seems like they're masquerading, and they're perpetrating a serious fraud. Some people let their stress be known just by the things they do and say. A famous black speaker who I believe many people know or have heard of, Louis Farrakhan, said around 20 or so years ago, statistically speaking, I believe, it's kind of a hard word for me to say. Statistically speaking, I believe, he said that there are 70 million people on drugs. Not 7, not 70, not 700, not 7,000, not 70,000, not 700,000. Not 7 million, but 70 million people on drugs. No doubt, I believe that included cigarettes, alcohol, people shooting up, popping pills, huffing paint, snorting lines of whatever they snort, and just doing all kinds of stuff, trying to fill a void or the void in their souls. Looking at all the troubles in this world, even 20 years ago. And some people don't have as many troubles as others. I believe that too. But we all have troubles in one way or another or others. We all have stress. In one or more ways, we have stress. Some people are just good at hiding it until they're all alone. And then their true colors are all there in their loneliness. They think about what's really going on in their life that no one else really knows. Now, 20 years ago, around 20 years ago, 70 million people were on drugs. This is 20 years ago. Today, can you imagine what that number is? What it skyrocketed to? The youth are out of control. Police are many of them are out of control, trigger happy. Stressed out, no doubt, I believe, by the problems that they have to deal with people who are on drugs, and some of it may be because of racism or because they have problems in their own lives and they take it out on other people. It could be a number of things. But the whole thing in a nutshell is everyone is feeling the effects of how crazy this world has gotten. Everyone, police, non-police, and it's just unbelievable. Again, the Bible said, in the last days, critical times, which means dangerous times, in other words, will be here. Critical times. When a person goes to the hospital sometimes because something happened, they say that that person is in critical condition because something that bad happened. Well, this world is in critical condition. And it's not getting any better. In fact, I believe it's leading up to the 7-year Great Tribulation, which I also believe is that we are at the doors of. I mean, we have a president in office as I speak, who many people are unsure of. And in fact, many people, I don't know how many, but I heard that many people, or, like I said, I don't know how many, but I heard that people have left the country when he got elected as president out of fear. And the way he acts and lies, it's just unbelievable that he is still in office. But to my knowledge, he still is. And that's a scary thought in itself. We are not in good shape at all. This world is not in good shape. When I don't know how many of you saw the 10 Commandments, Cecil B. DeMille's 10 Commandments, which had Charlton Heston in it as the main character, Moses. When Moses in this movie went up into the mountain to get God's laws for the people, his commandments, the 10 Commandments. And he was there for 40 days. The people became frustrated, and they had one big party. There was all kinds of stuff going on. All kinds of stuff. All kinds of immoralities. If you look at the Bible, well, maybe you don't know, but you will when I tell you this. The Bible describes people in these last days as acting like those people, only worse. Some of you saw this movie. I've watched it. It's one of my favorite movies, even though I know Moses was a black man. But even so, in this movie, it showed how people act when they become frustrated, irritated, when they can't get what they want when they want it, when things don't go their way, or when they feel there's no hope. There's a void that they're trying to fill. They want pleasure. They want excitement. They want entertainment. They want to know that, they just want to they do everything, anything and everything to get off the world, as they say. That's what people are doing today. The Bible says it. It states that people will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, lovers of pleasures. Children will be disobedient to their parents. They're not just disobedient to their parents, they're disobedient to law enforcement figures. They're going around in gangs, many of them. The jails are full. The prisons are full. Many people, as I speak, are in mental institutions, drug rehabilitation facilities, or on their way there. Many people have committed suicide all over the world because of the problems, because of how crazy society has gotten. The governments are not doing anything to solve the problems because the governments, like many people, are running from the truth. They don't want to hear the truth. Everyone is so they're just, it's like the norm with everything, with everyone. People live like all this crazy stuff going on is normal. All the wars, all the hatred, all the racism, all the drugs, all the this and that and this. They can build all the walls they want to. People are still going to find a way to get high, to feel good. No matter what they have to do, they're going to find a way to get high, to feel good, to get off, as I said, as they say. 70 million people 20 years ago on drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, you name it. And since then, there have been more drugs that have come out. Ice, meth, you name it. And there will probably be more, I believe, before it's all over with. This is the way, this is the world we live in, our present day troubled world. It's surreal. It is just, it's like living in a nightmare. It's like you don't know what's going to happen next. During the 7-year Great Tribulation, in which, of which God said would be the worst time on the face of this earth, worse than any other bad time that has been on this earth, worse than any other war, anything. For 7 years. 7, and those are going to be some long years. If you think people are going crazy now, doing all kinds of crimes, drugs, robberies, home invasions, burglaries, killing people, robbing people, wait until you haven't seen anything yet. Like that song says, you ain't seen nothing yet. It's coming. Because, it's like that saying, I don't know how many of you have heard it, but they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results. Not only is the world doing the same thing that they were doing 20 years ago, and even further than that, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. It's unbelievable. And for people to ignore the problems, like they say, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. If you're not doing anything to help, all you're doing is hindering the helping the world become better. You are hindering healing the world because you don't care. Either maybe you do, but then there are cowards who don't want to stand up. And I asked this question in one of my other posts. Where are the Davids in this world, like the courageous David in the Bible, who fought against the giant Goliath? We're dealing with a monster right now. A monster that is made up of ignorant people who don't know the truth, people afraid to share the truth who do know it because of what other people will say. They're afraid they're afraid to stand up because they're afraid of what people will say about them. Instead of you being afraid of what people will say, you should be afraid of how God is looking at you. You should be afraid of the judgment, especially the great white throne judgment, if you even make it to that point. Because as crazy as this world is, anything could happen at any time. Anything. You could be an innocent bystander on a street corner, standing next to someone who someone is out to shoot, do a drive-by on, and you end up getting shot. Many people, many innocent bystanders have been shot. Innocent. Had nothing to do with anything. Dead, gone. Cases of mistaken identity. People getting killed, hurt. Because some other person on drugs thought they were someone else. Or they didn't even have to be on drugs. They don't even have to be on drugs. They could just think you're someone else. In some places, you can't even, if you look at someone the wrong way, they'll shoot you. They will kill you. They will kill you. So many youngsters are on, they have no respect for authority, for their parents, for people in general, because they've been lied to by society from early on. They've been lied to by grown-ups who they thought they could look up to. And how they've been lied to, well, it has to do with these holidays, these pagan holidays. Easter, they find out the Easter Bunny does not exist. That was a lie. And with that being so closely related to the resurrection of Christ, who they also have not seen, or God, or heaven, they tend to believe that God and Jesus and heaven don't exist either. That is all made up by people. You know? Same thing with Christmas. This Santa Claus and the reindeer and the elves and all this, the North Pole and all this and that. They come to find out, just as they come to find out that the fairy godmother, the tooth fairy, and all this stuff does not exist. Same thing. They've been lied to. They felt cheated. They rebel and turn on everyone, have chips on their shoulders the sizes of boulders. And who can blame them? No, we can't blame them. We have to put the blame where it's really due. We have to give credit where credit's due, on the adults who lied to them, on the adults who they look at day after day, adults on drugs, fighting, arguing, cheating on each other, beating on them, splitting up, families splitting up. They don't know which way to turn. So many of them join gangs. They run away, they get pregnant, these teenage girls, they selling themselves for drugs. It's just like the ripple effect. One thing after another. And it's compounding. It compounds on the other stuff that's already stressing them out. So yes, everyone in this world is stressed in one or more ways. Because, like I said, everyone is running from the truth. Everyone. And everything I'm telling you is the truth. But you know what? Nobody won't share it. I'd be willing to bet right now that you won't share it. You're listening to it. And you know why you won't share it? Because you don't want anyone or tell anybody about it, or about this page, because you don't want anyone to think, excuse me, that you are becoming religified or this and that. You don't want anyone talking about you. Or you just want to keep living the ways of the world, which are crazy ways. Selfish, crazy, greedy, hateful, ignorant, vindictive ways. The easy way. The easy ways. And even those ways aren't even easy. But people get used to doing them. And it's dog eat dog. It's a rat race. Everybody's after money. People are killing their own families, their own children for insurance money. Their spouses, their parents, their brothers, the sisters. You name it. That's how crazy it is. And even people with money, with millions and billions of dollars or whatever are unhappy. You hear about them committing suicide. Unhappy, trying to fill that void. They're confused, they're lonely, they're hurting, they're masquerading, and it's stressful. It's not easy putting on a different face every day, every night. Being someone different around your friends, and then when you're at home or alone, you're your true self. But you know in the back of your mind, well, when I see these people again, whoever it is that you associate with or your so-called friends, you have to put this other face back on. And it's something that will drive you to drinking, doing drugs, or going insane, or committing suicide. The void, that hole in your soul is still there. And instead of you doing something to close it up, like listening to the truth, living the truth, sharing the truth, and walking with your head up instead of down, if everyone knew the truth, the way this world got to be, how this world got to be the way it is, and why it's getting worse. If everyone knew the truth, maybe then it would have the ripple effect too, and it would reach more people. I can't say if everyone knew it, because even if everyone did know it, everyone's not going to share it. It takes the David class people who are not afraid to stand up to share the truth. The Bible says, it talks about cowards in the book of Revelation, that they will have a part in the lake of fire, the second death. These false prophet preachers, oh my God, it's just amazing. You think that you have someone to look up to, hopefully in the church, but then you're being lied to. You're being told half-truths. Half-truths. And then when you do find out the truth, that you've been giving all your money to these churches, or to a church, whatever church you go to, or churches, that you've wasted all your money just to be lied to. Anyone can sit up there with or get up there with a three-piece suit on, or a robe, a preacher's robe on, and have an elaborate band behind them with people who can really sing and everything, and it all sounds good, it all looks good, but it's not. They're like imitation cheese Christians. They're not the real thing. They're not the real thing. There are still many churches, many people who are in the dark about Jesus being of the black race. Many churches still have, no doubt, I believe, have pictures of a Caucasian Jesus hanging up in them, or on their walls at home, in their offices, or whatever building. You'll see them sometimes, and you probably have seen them. Because of the lies that were, the books that were taken out of the Bible to hide the true identity of God's chosen people. Jesus came from that line of people, of the black race. Many people don't even know this. And for this reason, there were born white supremacist groups, Aryan Brotherhood, KKK, Illuminati, and so forth. And they believe that they are superior over all races, all other races. This is another truth, which is exposing the lies. I mean, there's so much more. Not only were books taken out of the Bible, but there were things put in the Bible of which God warned about. God warned in the book of Revelation. Whoever takes away from this book or adds to it will be in trouble. But people have done it. They've done it. They've taken the Bible and they've rewritten it and put things in it that what they thought, what they assumed went into it or would look good in it or whatever. Just based on assumptions. And some people these people, and I'm not saying blaming one race, the whole race of one group of people or one race of people. I'm not blaming the whole race because the whole race didn't do it. In fact, there are people of the Caucasian race, some people in the Caucasian race who do not like what their ancestors did. There are some people who know the truth, and they're speaking up about it on YouTube, in these social media outlets. These are people who are in the David class. They're talking about the problems. Even you have young children, teenagers. We're talking like 12, 13 years old. I saw 2 of them on the news. Telling people off, telling adults off, telling greedy adults off. And they made all the sense in the world. Adults just sit back to, oh, they're so cute. You know what? They're not on there to be cute. They're on there telling the truth. Oh, look at them. They're so darling. See, that's the whole thing. This world is so screwed up because everybody is running from the truth. Some people, I want to get on this subject too. You people who are alone, lonely, you're not in a relationship or whatever, and you're looking for the perfect person. You're looking for what's darling, what's so cute, or what's so handsome, what's so pretty, or what's so fine, or whatever, what has money and this and that. And your whole life goes down the drain, and you end up old and alone because you couldn't accept what was good, what was noble, what had merit, the good things in life. No, you want everything to be a certain way. Some of you out there are looking for some fairy tale romance where you live happily ever after. And some of you get married to these people, you end up having, or even not married, and you have children out of wedlock. You don't even know these people that good. You just care about how they look, how much money they have, what kind of car they drive, what kind of house they're living in, what they can do for you. This world's a mess. It is a mess. You look for the good things in this life, the truthful, righteous things with merit, things that are lovely, things that are noteworthy, the good things, like the truth, which is the best thing anyone on this earth could know, the truth that exposes all the lies. And when people start saying the truth and living the truth and sharing the truth, regardless of what anyone else says or does or thinks or how they act toward you, then you're standing up. You're not only standing up for the truth, you're standing up for the Most High. You're standing up for His cause to make this world into the paradise that he wants it to be. That's the only way it's going to come. What do you think God's going to come down here and say, okay, children, well, poof, everything is different now? No. We messed this world up, and we have to fix it. But we fix it with the spirit of truth, and that's God's spirit of truth in people. People telling the truth, not afraid to stand up for the truth, not afraid to fight against the evils in this world, to expose them, put them in their place. You have to, some people said, well, maybe you don't know, but someone said, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. That's what, look at the world. Look at the world. Everyone is everyone is following the world, that's following the world, that's following the world, that's following the world, that's following the world. The blind leading the blind, leading the blind, leading the blind, leading the blind. And just because everyone else is doing it, so many of you out there, you just fit right in. Well, everybody else is doing this. Everybody else is doing drugs. Everybody else is getting a tattoo. Everybody else is getting their ears pierced, their bodies pierced all over. Everybody else is drinking, doing drugs, and partying and having sex and acting crazy and this and that. Everybody else is doing it. Everybody else is joining the gang. Wow. Everybody else. What about your own identity? To your own self, be true. Even if it means being alone, having no friends. Because if the only friend you could really have is the Most High. He's the only friend. And I'm not saying it's easy out there, no. It's hard to quit smoking. I know that for a fact. It's hard to quit drinking. I know that for a fact. And for those of you out there who are addicted to drugs, I'm sure that it's equally as hard, if not even more hard, to get off the drugs. But we all have to start somewhere. And it's a lonely, 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 lonely world. It sure is. Lonely world. A world full of masquerading, ignorant people following a world full of masquerading, ignorant people who are following a world full of masquerading, ignorant people. It's just like, it's like a dog chasing his tail. You may as well be chasing the wind. Well, I'm going to go with this crowd here. I'm going to get with the in crowd. No, it's not the in crowd. It's the out crowd. On the broad road to destruction. And you're following them. And you're blinded by what's in front of you or what's on the side of you, what's behind you, because there are people following you. You're following people. There are people walking alongside with you. There are people, you're just following the crowd who is headed straight for destruction. Well, everybody else is going this way. If everybody else jumped off a bridge, jumped off the Empire State Building, and said, I can fly, you gonna do it too? Well, everybody else is doing it. You might as well join the crowd. Wow. Reminds me of that movie Thelma and Louise, who ran the car off a cliff. Shoot, I've been like, you can let me out of this car now. I'd rather live in prison than die going off a cliff. Oh, we're going to do it the dramatic way. Really? Well, they didn't show the rest of it, did they? What they looked like after they hit the hit the ground. I bet you that wasn't too dramatic. Or at least it didn't look too dramatic. Anyways, just as they were eating and drinking in the days of Noah, they're doing so much more now. Eat, drink, and be merry. Try to fill that void. Try to fill that void. You know how you can eat and you get full, and then like a few minutes later, maybe an hour later, you're hungry again? Because you can't feel, it's like the void in your soul. You have to keep doing something to satisfy. That's why people eat so much, because they're depressed. They're depressed. You're looking for something to do. You're looking for, that doesn't fill the void. It might fill your stomach for a few minutes, but then you're up walking around. You got to get into something. You're burning up all your energy and stuff, which makes you want to eat some more. That's just the way trying to fill that void is. You can't. The only thing that's going to fill that void is the truth that will set you free. The truth that you're hearing right now. That's the only thing. So be a coward, follow the world, keep your head up the world's butt. When God gets ready to slap that whore off that pedestal that she sits on in America, and you have your head up that whore's ass, you're coming down hard with that whore. Babylon the Great is fallen. Said it twice. So that should tell you something. Is fallen. Is fallen. Oh, she's coming down. She's coming down. And she'll never get back up there again. And if you're up there partying with her and enjoying her and fornicating with her, God said, come out of her, my people. If you have an ear to hear, then you are in the class that could be saved, or you have the ability, the mentality to be saved. If you have an ear to hear, come out of her. In other words, like if a man's having sexual intercourse with a woman, with a whore, and you shouldn't, you come out of her, or you'll end up paying for it. Keep playing with fire, you're going to get burned. And America's going to really burn. That great whore's ass is going to be on fire. If you're up there messing around with her, or you're messing around with her, whatever, enjoying these temporary pleasures, well, you're going to get burned too. Can a man hold hot coals to his bosom and not be burned? Keep messing with America, the so-called beautiful, which is another lie. There's nothing beautiful in America except for the people who are telling the truth about why the world is the way it is, why America is so corrupt morally, and how all these lies have messed things up. Not only did some people in the Caucasian race lie to all the other races, you lied to your own race. The generations that come after, the generations that have come after those people told those lies, have to deal with this now. And they don't like it. And many of them I've seen, and I applaud them for standing up and talking about people in their own race who started these lies. And I have nothing against any race. Caucasian, Indian, Italian, Mexican, blacks, whites, no one. I'm against demons, lying demons, hateful demons, ignorant demons of ignorance and stupidity You know, people with idle minds. And idle mind is a playground. Those are playgrounds. Idle minds. Playgrounds for Satan and his evil angel followers that got kicked out of heaven with him. See what following Satan can do? They listened to Satan. What happened? Satan got kicked out of heaven. They got kicked out of heaven. Same thing with America the Beautiful, sitting up on that pedestal, that great whore. When she gets slapped down, and you're joining her, you're with her right now, you're going down too. Just like the angels came down with Lucifer, with Satan, you're going down too. And when people chose to listen to Satan, and many are still doing it by the way they live. By the way they live in this world, they are headed for destruction, just like Satan's angels are headed for destruction. Their day is coming. The day of destruction is coming. Satan knows his time is short, so he's doing everything he can. Everything. They're doing everything. And they are really dirty. They're doing everything they can to wreak havoc in this world, to take as many people down to destruction as they can. He is that mad. Well, let's see. For one thing, he couldn't get his way in heaven. He couldn't get his way, be like the Most High. God put him in his place real fast. He couldn't get his way in heaven. War broke out in heaven. He got his ass embarrassingly kicked out of heaven. Him and a third of the angels. And he can't go back. Plus, God told him he was going to destroy him. They sent a petition by a prophet to the Most High, asked him to be forgiven. The Most High flat told them no. He is going to be destroyed, and his angels and all his followers. Keep listening to Satan. Keep listening to the lies. Keep living the ways of this world that Satan is presently ruling over. Keep living the way of Satan, the evil ways of this world, and watch what it gets you. See where you end up and why you ended up there, denying the truth. Jesus, who had the spirit of truth in him, and still does, said, if you deny me, who is the way, the truth, and the life, the way to the Father, the truth about this world, how I got to be this way, and how things are going to turn out, and the life that you could have if you trust in the Most High and live the way he wants you to. But it all comes through his Son. It all comes through his Son. But he said, his Son who said, if you deny me before men, which in other words, if you don't speak the truth about him, if you don't stand up for him, if you're a coward, he will deny you before his Father in heaven. You don't want to be denied by the Son of the Most High. What other hope do you have then? What will a man give in exchange for his soul? What would you give? You will not, and I guarantee you, you will not weasel your way into heaven. You will not weasel your way into living forever in paradise on this earth. And if you think you can or will, you are sadly mistaken. You are sadly mistaken. God is not a fool. I know it's hard to live in this world. It's stressful with all the crazy things that are going on in it. It's hard to give up the drugs, the alcohol, whatever you're doing to get off of this world. It's hard. It is so hard. And people hate to hear the truth. In fact, The Bible says that Jesus said, "You will be hated by men for following me." In other words, for standing up for the truth, because people are so used to living a lie. They're used to the things happen so subtly, like Satan. He just eases things in little by little to blend in with what people think is normal in this world. That's why nobody's doing anything about it, because nobody else is doing it. They don't see anyone else doing anything about it. And even if they do, they don't want to join in because there's not that many people doing anything. It's just like with Martin Luther King when he came on the scene. Dr. Martin Luther King. There were people out there who wanted to do something, but they were afraid. They're looking for a leader. But you know what? If you could see in Dr. Martin Luther King something that struck a nerve in you or struck a chord in you, this man is right, then you had it in you all along. So why don't you be a leader? Why don't you stand up like he did? Why don't you stand up like he did and be a leader yourself? Why don't you stand up and be a hero or a shero yourself instead of a coward hanging on someone's coattail or skirt because you're too afraid to do anything yourself? Like I said, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So many people are afraid to, and all this holding up, picketing and stuff. You could picket till your arms fall off. You could talk about it till your lips fly off your face. It's not going to change anything because you're talking about the wrong things. So you're talking about what's going on. You should be talking about what has happened in the past that made all this stuff happen in the future. Get to the root of the problem. Then you're getting somewhere. Get to the root of the problem. Uproot that root where it started. And get all of it out. Then you're doing something. You're getting someplace. Because if that root is still there, it's still got a chance to grow. There's power in numbers. You know, one person can't do it by themselves. They can't. It's impossible. You have to get in that race and get ready to carry that torch because one person can only take it so far. One person can only take it so far. And all my talks are not elaborate. They're not all Hollywoody. I've said this over and over in other talks. But they are real, though. They are real. And I don't get much sleep sometimes because I have a lot of things on my mind, just like I get these ideas. Like I had the idea for this talk about stress and people being on drugs and looking for a way out and stuff. And I was going to go lay down and go to sleep, and I said, no, this is more important than sleeping right now. This is more important because if I sleep on this and tomorrow I'll be like mad at myself for not doing it. So this gives me pleasure to do this. It gives me pleasure to do this, even though I'm sleepy and my words might be dragging on or sound like I'm a little tongue-tied or whatever. But like I said, you know, and my nerves are not all the time good. You know, and I have a problem sometimes with trying to quit smoking. I do, but then it's just, you know, one of those things. Do you know? And I know I'm not the only one in this situation. And I'm not gonna lie about it. Sometimes I have quit, and sometimes I try to quit, and it's just there's so many stressful things going on. I mean, stressful. And I can see why people are lonely and why they're doing this and doing drugs and smoking and drinking and all this and that. But if people would just stand up and band together. See, that's what the whole thing is. Everybody's afraid to stand up. You're afraid. And that's that's what's keeping, that pride thing is what's keeping the world where it is. And where it is, but it's getting worse. We're not progressing. Just a little, we are. A little. You know. I applaud Michael Jackson still to this day for some of his music. Man in the Mirror, Heal the World. And other people who, like Teddy Pendergrass, Wake Up Everybody. And England Dan, John Ford Coley, Love Is the Answer. Just people with good songs and stuff that are inspiring, that are thought provoking. I admire people like that. I stand up and I applaud them. People who are not afraid to say what's on their mind and what's on their hearts. That is good. That's noble. That's lovely. And like Bette Midler, From a Distance, you know. Those are beautiful songs because they're truthful and they have meaning. They make a person think. See, everybody can do something. Everybody can do something. You know, instead of people listen to all this rock and roll and heavy metal, head banging, all this rap with all this stuff in about drugs and calling women bitches and people niggers and nigga and all this and that. That's degrading. It's stupid. And when people have idle minds who don't know the truth, and they listen to this stuff because they think it's cool, and so they get their identity from it. And what do? What happens? Many of them, they're on drugs, they listen to this stuff, then what happens? They listen to it so much and it infiltrates their minds, their thoughts, and they end up getting in trouble. Many of them end up in the grave. Lives get messed up, can't find a job, in prison, get out. You got a record now, you know. It's like the domino effect. One thing after another. It's like the ripple effect. One thing after another. One thing compounded upon another. And then the next thing you know, you can't find a job. You can't find a place to stay. You're homeless. You want stuff. So what are you doing? You're robbing people for money, for drugs. And it's just an ongoing, it's an endless cycle. Endless cycle. Society doesn't trust you, and they're telling you in so many words, in so many ways, you keep messing up, we're going to lock you up and throw away the key. So you have to think about that. One stressful situation after another. You see what I'm talking about? That's what happens when people don't know the truth, when they don't live the truth, when they don't share the truth. And another reason why I'm doing this is because of what the Most High said. He said, if I warn you, if I tell you to warn someone that they're going to die, and you don't do it, and that person dies, their blood will be on your hands. This is one reason why I do this. And the reason, there's a number of reasons why I do it. I do it because out of respect for the Most High, even though I still smoke sometimes, I still try to quit. But I am trying, you know, and I do this to counter that. But we have to try. We just have to try. That's all we can do. None of us are good. None of us are perfect. There's not one righteous. No, not one. That's what the Bible says. But we do have to try. God looks at the heart. And he knows what's going on down here. But we have to try. And it's stressful. It is. It is so stressful that sometimes when I quit smoking, I remember going to jail because you have to deal with ignorant people. People who just try you over and over, just ignorance. And you're like, what the hell is wrong with these people? You know, and you're trying to come off cigarettes or whatever. Then you got to deal with some some idiot, some fool, some ignoramus that doesn't care. You got to deal with people stealing from you, talk behind your back, just stupid stuff. And you get tired of it. You get tired of it. And it seems like it's just it's amplified when you try to quit smoking or drinking or whatever, and your nerves are raw. And then you got to deal with some knucklehead, some lame brain, who's acting like the rest of the world that you're trying to get away from, not have to deal with. But Satan knows that he sees when you're trying to do the right thing. So he'll come after you. He'll come after you and try to get you in trouble, try to make you do something because your nerves are raw. He knows it. He knows the triggers that'll set you off. He knows it. So you have to do something to try to counter the triggers and the cravings and everything. And I'm not saying that they're not still there, because they are. But I know that it's wrong too. And I know that this is more right to do than that. I just wish everybody would start living the truth, sharing the truth, telling the truth. It would make it better, easier for everyone else. And I'm sure, just like with Martin Luther King, people would start joining in, even though they may be afraid now. And it's understandable to feel that way. But if nobody does anything, nothing's going to get done. Like I said, there's power in numbers. If we did our best, if we all did our best and lent a hand, we could all change things. We could change things. And the stress would be less. More people would join in. And when people see more people joining in and they know it's for the right cause, then who else wouldn't join? Anyone would join. Anyone would join, if in their right minds, especially after seeing how this world, how all the problems and troubles in this world, since all these lies and crazy evil stuff started down here. Anyone would join in. If you think about the past, aren't you tired of it? Wouldn't you join in? I know I would. That's why I'm doing something now. And it may not be much, and I may not be perfect. I never claimed to be a preacher, a pastor, elder, or a teacher, or any of that. But I'm trying to do my part, because I do know the truth. I'm not good either. I'm not perfect. I'm a work in progress. But I know the truth. And I do know that I believe that if more people knew it, it would be less stressful in this world for other people who see it being shared, who see something finally being done that's right, and that's exposing the lies with the truth.